I am Mary Crystal Agredove, and today I am diving into some important readings. Something that's been buzzing around, and I've got some thoughts on it. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Here are some statements from the reading number 25 to 50. The first statement says, the enduring influence of foreign cultures have left an indelible imprint on Philippine soil that cannot be washed away. These influences have seeped into the bedrock of culture and in time transformed the Filipino into something truly. My thoughts about that statement is that it beautifully highlights the impact of foreign cultures on the Philippines. It emphasizes how these influences have become deeply embedded in the Filipino culture, creating a unique and diverse identity. So the use of metaphorical language, such as seep into the bedrock of culture, effectively conveys the depth and permanence of these influences. So overall, the statement portrays the lasting legacy of foreign cultures in the Philippines. So the Philippines has a rich and diverse culture that has been shaped by centuries of foreign influences. So we have Spanish influence just like religion. The Spanish introduced Roman Catholicism to the Philippines. So also we do have American influence just like our education, and also Chinese influence just like our cuisines. So these are just a few examples of the many foreign cultures that we have influenced or that have influenced the Philippines. Our next statement says, the Filipino has been conditioned to think small. Thus, nationalism and national pride were not made for his vocabulary, and that the steadiest thing in his fluid mind is his family ties, its rituals, and its fetishes. His family is his best social support. So that statement reflects a perspective on a Filipino mindset, emphasizing the strong influence of family ties and tradition in family or Filipino culture. Moving forward, our third statement says, the Filipino is a person with four histories and four cultures. The statement captures the rich and multifaceted identity of the Filipino people. So it suggests that we Filipinos carry within us the legacy of multiple historical influences and cultural backgrounds, shaping our unique identity. So the concept of four histories and four cultures likely refers to the diverse heritage of the Filipino people, which can be broadly categorized into four main influences. So first influences is the indigenous culture. So it reflects the tradition of pre-colonial Filipino groups. Second is our Spanish influences. So it is very evident that Spanish influenced our language, our religion, and also our architecture due to centuries of colonization. Third one is the American impact. So the American introduced English, the education system, and popular culture during colonization. And lastly, our Asian blend. So absorbing influences from the neighboring Asian culture like Chinese and Malay. The statement underscored the complexity and diversity of Filipino identity, highlighting how the Filipino people draw from multiple historical and cultural sources to create a rich traditions beliefs, and practices. So it emphasizes the multicultural nature of Filipino society and the resilience of its people in integrating diverse influences into cohesive and dynamic cultural heritage. The readings provide valuable insights into Philippine society and culture before and during the Spanish colonial period, highlighting significant aspects of the country's history and heritage. So, first on the list is influence of indigenous culture. So, the indigenous Filipino cultures before Spanish colonization underscore the richness and diversity of pre-colonial societies. So, these cultures had sophisticated social structures, belief system, and artistic expression that laid the foundation of Filipino identity. Next is Spanish colonial impact. So the readings appropriately emphasize the profound influence of Spanish colonization on Philippine society and culture. So the introduction of Catholicism, the imposition of Spanish language and governance, and the transformation of architectural and culinary tradition significantly shaped the Filipino identity. Third is cultural assimilation. So the discussion of cultural assimilation during the Spanish period arises important question about the complexities of identity formation. So the blending of indigenous Spanish and Asian influences created a unique cultural synthesis in the Philippines. And lastly, the nationalism and resistance. So the readings touch upon themes of nationalism and resistance, and the fight for independence reflect the resilience and agency of the Filipino people in asserting their identity and sovereignty. So it is crucial to recognize the contributions of Filipino heroes and revolutionaries who fought against colonial oppression and paved the way for a more inclusive and empowered Filipino society. So all of this, it highlights the complexities of historical experiences and the ongoing impact of colonial legacies. So it is essential to critically engage with these narratives, acknowledging both the strengths and also the challenges of Filipino cultural heritage. The reading titled Cultural Transformation, Bringing Out the Best in the Filipino. For me, and I believe that it presents an optimistic view of fostering positive cultural development within Filipino community. So it emphasizes resiliency, innovation, and cultural pride. While promoting personal and collective growth is admirable, it is essential to maintain a balanced perspective that acknowledges the challenges and preserves the authenticity of Filipino tradition. So, in discussing cultural transformation, inclusivity and empowerment should be prioritized to ensure that all voices are heard, diverse cultural expressions are valued, and individuals are empowered to contribute positively to the society. So, by approaching cultural transformation with a critical yet optimistic lens, the Filipino community can leverage its strengths and unique heritage to cultivate a more inclusive, more innovative, and empowered cultural identity, fighting the war against forgetting. It explores the importance of historical preservation, memory, and safeguarding of cultural heritage. By emphasizing the proactive stance of preserving narratives and traditions to prevent their loss, it underscores the value of learning from the past to shape present perspective and decisions. While acknowledging the challenges and complexities associated with memory, the reading advocates for a continuity and adaptation of cultural tradition to ensure their relevance and evolution over time. So, by engaging in the ongoing struggle against forgetting, individuals and communities can honor their heritage, gain insights from history, and maintain a dynamic connection to their cultural identity for future generations. Titled Language and Culture suggests an exploration of the intricate relationship within the language and our cultural identity, highlighting how language serves as a key vehicle for preserving, transmitting, and shaping cultural values, norms, and practices. So, this reading likely delves into the ways in which language reflects and influences cultural beliefs, social interactions, and worldviews, emphasizing the power of language as a tool for expression, communication, and cultural continuity. By examining the intersection of language and culture, the reading likely prompts reflection on the dynamic interplay between linguistic diversity, cultural heritage, and identity transformation, underscoring the profound impact that language has on shaping individual and collective experiences within diverse cultural contexts. So moving forward, as I read the back of Biak na Bato excerpt from the memoirs of Emilio Aguinaldo, I feel a mix of emotions such as admiration for the resilience and determination of the Filipino revolutionaries, and it also builds curiosity about the historical context and the intricacies of the negotiation, and perhaps a sense of reflection on the complexities and challenges faced during the Philippine Revolution against the Spanish colonial rule. So, the excerpt evoked a deeper appreciation for the sacrifices made by those involved in the struggle for the independence and a desire to learn more about the moment in the Philippine history. And as I go along the excerpt, I have known that Pedro Paterno was a Filipino lawyer, politician, and a writer who played a significant role in negotiating the Pact of Biak na Bato, which marked a crucial point in the Philippine Revolution against Spanish colonial rule. So, I view Paterno as a skilled negotiator who helped secure concessions for the Filipino revolutionaries through the pact. So, others criticize him for potentially prioritizing personal gain or political moves over the broader goals of the revolution. So, his involvement in the pact and his actions have sparked debate and varying assessment of his characters, with some praising his diplomatic efforts and others questioning his loyalty and intention. Also, the proclamation of the Hong Kong Committee, marking the end of the Filipino-Spanish understanding and expressing support for the Americans, reflect a significant shift in the alliances and the strategies during a critical period in Philippine history. So, this declaration signifies a turning point where Filipino revolutionaries led by Emilio Aguinaldo severed ties with Spanish colonial authorities and sought backing from the United States in their quest for independence. So the proclamation underscored the complexities of political maneuvering and strategic alliances in the context of the Philippine Revolution, highlighting the evolving dynamics of power and resistance against colonial rule. At this point, let's talk about the Moro Wars. The prolonged conflicts left a legacy of deep-seated mistrust between the Moro people and the central government, fueling ongoing issues of autonomy and self-determination. The wars also resulted in significant social and economic disparities in the southern region of the Philippines, hindering its development and contributing to persistent inequalities. The legacy of violence and unresolved issues stemming from the Moro Wars continue to shape the political and social landscape of the southern Philippines to this day. Cesar Adiv Mahul's presentation of the Moro Wars encapsulates the turbulent period marked by the prolonged conflict between the American forces and the Moro people in the southern Philippines. Mahul's narrative likely delves into the cultural, religious, and political dimensions of the clashes, emphasizing the challenges of pacifying the Moro population resistant to American colonial rule. So the face of the Moro Wars, as portrayed by Mahul, sheds light on the complexities of imperialism, indigenous resistance, and the enduring impact of this conflict of the socio-political landscape of the region. If I were given a chance to present a solution to Moro-Christian conflict in southern Philippines, a multifaceted approach is necessary. So this includes fostering intercultural dialogue, promoting economic development and social inclusion, enhancing governance structures to ensure equitable presentation, implementing conflict resolution mechanisms, and honoring the cultural and religious diversity of the region. Additionally, recognizing and respecting the historical grievances of all parties involved is crucial in building trust and achieving lasting peace in the region. So, recognizing and respecting the cultural and religious diversity of the southern Philippines is paramount to resolving the Moro-Christian conflict. The region's rich tapestry of indigenous, Moro, and Christian tradition has historically been a source of both strength and conflict. So, ignoring this diversity fuels misunderstanding and resentment. So, a lasting peace requires acknowledging a distinct identities, custom, and beliefs of each group, fostering mutual understanding and appreciation. This includes supporting cultural preservation efforts, promoting inclusive education that accurately reflects the region's history and diversity, and ensuring that all groups feel their cultural and religious rights are protected and respected within the framework of the unified nation. Only by embracing this diversity can a truly sustainable and equitable peace be achieved. The idea of federalizing the Philippines is a complex one, with both potential benefits and drawbacks. A federal system could shift some power away from the national government in Manila, potentially leading to more responsive and efficient governance at the local level. Regional autonomy could empower local governments to tailor economic policies to their specific needs, and resources, potentially boosting development in areas that have been historically neglected. Federalism, for me, could help address the long-standing issue of economic and social disparities between regions in the Philippines. In areas with long-standing conflicts, increased autonomy could potentially lead to greater peace and stability. However, a shift towards federalism could potentially weaken national unity and lead to increased regionalism and even separatist movements. An equal distribution of resources across regions could lead to significant fiscal imbalances, with some regions potentially becoming more prosperous while others struggles. Increased autonomy at the regional level could increase the risk of corruption if proper checks and balances are not in place. Transitioning to a federal system would be a complex and challenging process, requiring significant political will and belief that federalism could promote inclusivity, address historical inequalities, and empower regions to manage their affairs more effectively. Federalizing the Philippines could bring about significant impacts, including the decentralization of power to regional entities, fostering tailored governance responsive to local needs, and potentially promoting balanced regional development. This shift may also enhance cultural and ethnic representation, recognizing diverse identities and minority rights within a more inclusive political framework. However, the transition to federalism would pose administrative challenges, necessitating restructuring, fiscal policy revisions, and effective intergovernmental cooperation. Addressing resource allocation equitably among regions and ensuring stability through clear governance mechanism would be a critical factors in determining the success of a federal system. In conclusion, the success of any shift towards federalism would depend heavily on public support and understanding of the proposed changes. The specific design of a federal system for the Philippines would be crucial, addressing potential challenges and ensuring a smooth and equitable transition. Open and inclusive dialogue between the national government, regional leaders, and civil society would be essential throughout the process.